Welcome back to Red Dead Weapons Day. I'm Rolson Gaming. We did so far. Anyway, today though, I'm going to be going into the history and practicality of the elephant rifle in Red Online. Now, historically speaking, the in-game weapon itself is based off a Holliston Playfair 500 Nitro Express double-barreled rifle. In-game, this weapon shoots 477 Nitro, however, which is a slight inaccuratism to it, though you probably could have gotten this weapon chambered in that caliber. Now, going into the history of elephant rifles in general, they were originally designed by the Afrikaan trekkers, or the Boers, if you will, the Boer trekkers, who settled in South Africa after being expelled from Holland and France, which is why a lot of Boers, if you will, have French-sounding last names, like Cronier and so on, and De La Rey and so on and so on. They originally designed this weapon in the 17th century in black powder muzzle-loaded configurations. They were originally chambered in anything from 2-bore all the way up to 10-bore, or 10-gauge, if you will. The common caliber loading for black powder elephant rifles, though, is 4-bore or 4-gauge, if you will. And going into the design of this weapon, the way you design an elephant rifle, there's two ways. You can either utilize a side lock action or a box lock action, and you can either do over and under or side by side. The more common weapon manufacturer preference for this is to utilize a box lock action, which it has very few moving parts, is very reliable, and can take a beating, and you utilize a side-by-side barrel configuration. Now, the way you do a side-by-side barrel configuration, or manufacture, if you will, is you test fire both barrels at the same time to make sure the weapon is shooting both cartridges at the same time, it ejects both cartridges at the same time, and actually works overall with the overall weapon itself and the receiver itself. And once the barrels are tested and are shown to be adequate enough to be properly made into a proper rifle, they will implement a wedge, which you can see on the in-game rifle itself going down between both barrels, and as you look down my iron sight in-game, you can see where the wedge is itself. Now, historically speaking, there were also over and under elephant rifles, but the problems with them is the fact being that they have a harder time ejecting the spent shell casings, if you will, and they also tend to not be as reliable, and they also tend to jam for some reason, though that might just be the weapon design itself. Now, in terms of accuracy to the game setting and time period, you could import these rifles from Rigby Rifle Company or other firearm manufacturers, if you will. Now, this weapon itself is an iconic big game African hunting rifle. It's an iconic African big game rifle, if you will. And in-game, you wouldn't see a lot of these over across in the United States and Canada and Mexico and whatnot, mainly because, well, Americans and Canadians had a preference for, well, either single-barreled rifles or repeating rifles, like the Winchester 73 or the Springfield Trapper or the Rolling Block, if you will. And in America, we've never really seen a practicality to owning a double-barrel rifle. They're expensive to own. They come in very hard-hitting calibers. Why would you use something like a 900 Nitro Express on a deer when you can go get a 30-30 or a 30 Winchester centerfire or rimfire, if you will, and just go shoot it with a 30-30 or some shit, Why need a double-barreled rifle? All right? I can put down a grizzly bear with a 30-06. I can put down an elephant with a 275 Rigby, That's the main reason why this weapon itself, though, is not common to see in this game's time period, unless you were ultra-rich. And going into the weapon's practicality in-game usage itself, the weapon, it's more of a troll weapon. It's only really used on legendary animals. That's mainly why it was added to the game with the naturalist role a few years ago. And going to overall effectiveness, now this weapon has a two triggers on a double trigger, if you will. It has immense recoil, isn't that accurate, and only good thing about it is that it packs a fucking punch. Now, overall, recommendations for it, I recommend using it close up on legendary animals, or if you just want to go troll people. That's the only reason I would see you using this weapon online. Anyway, though, folks, hope you all enjoyed this quick little video on the elephant rifle in Red Online and historical accuracy. Thank you all for watching. Good luck out there, and peace. Auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye.